I think my sister's been missing, and we're being told she's with Nan, this woman named Nan, but I don't think it's true.
Erica is fine. I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Erica's not missing. Erica is with Nan.
Breaking news, the body of missing Rowan County teenager Erica Parsons has been found.
Welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. The story I have for you today is about a teenage girl who was reported as missing, but only years after she was last seen. And it would take police quite some time to figure out exactly what had happened to her. This is the story of Erica Parsons. Erica Lynn Parsons was born on February 24, 1998, to her mother, Carolyn Parsons, and her father, Billy Dean Goodman, in North Carolina. She was described as being quiet and shy, and she loved stickers. And sadly, due to the nature of the story, not much else is known about her. Erica's mother, Carolyn, had separated from her husband, Stephen, who was not the girl's father, prior to her ever being born. After that, Carolyn, who already had 3 other children, felt that she could not properly care for Erica, and so she sought alternative placement for her. That's when her ex-husband's brother and his wife, Sandy and Casey Parsons, decided that they wanted to care for the little girl. The situation seemed ideal to Carolyn, too, because she did not want her daughter to grow up in foster care or in a homeless shelter like she had. Erica's adoption by the couple would be finalized in 2000, and for some time, her biological mother was still allowed to have occasional visits with her. Then, on July 30th, 2013, in Rowan County, North Carolina, Erica's brother, 20-year-old Jamie Parsons, walked into the police station to report that his little sister was missing. The last time that he had seen Erica was 2 years prior, in November of 2011. And he believed that his parents had killed her, then buried her in the backyard. The reason that Jamie was just now reporting her as missing was because he had recently moved out of his parents' home. And he no longer believed the excuses that they had been giving him for years about her going to live with another relative. Jamie told officers that he'd been informed that Erica had gone to live with her biological grandmother, Irene Goodman, or Nan. He also told them that his parents had physically and mentally mistreated Erica for years. But when police went to speak with Sandy and Casey, they denied ever hurting Erica and said that their son Jamie had actually just made up the entire story. All because he was angry after an argument that he had with Casey, which resulted in him getting kicked out of the house. The couple described Jamie as being an emotionally disturbed young man who was bipolar, suicidal, and violent at times. The parents then insisted that back in 2011, Erica had gone to live with her biological grandmother, Nan, in Asheville. Since then, they hadn't had contact with her because they were under the impression that the teen wanted to be left alone. According to Casey, the girl contacted her grandmother, Nan, on Facebook. And soon after, a person claiming to be a relative or a friend of Erica's biological parents came by the Parsons home to take her to the grandmother's. That story would later change, however, and Casey would say that Erica had met her grandmother at a McDonald's one day in September of 2011, followed by several further visits. On one of these occasions in December of 2011, Erica asked to stay with her grandmother permanently. Then in February 2012, shortly before Erica's 14th birthday, Casey claimed that she talked to her daughter on the phone for the last time. It was at that point that the teen had informed her she was not coming back because she no longer wanted to live with them. According to Casey, she and Sandy just believed that she was being a rebellious teenager. But when authorities asked Casey to show them Nan Goodman's Facebook page, which Erica had supposedly contacted her on, she claimed that the account was no longer active, and she had no contact information for this woman. She would later say that she had never gone to the Goodmans' home, only seen photos of it. photos which she no longer had. Erica's biological mother, Carolyn, would end up telling police that there was no such person named Nan. In fact, the little girl had no relatives in the Ashland area, and her biological grandmother had died back in 2005. So Casey's story changed yet again, and she claimed she had been tricked. The woman whom Erica had gone to live with must have been an imposter. 2 days after Erica was reported as missing, Sandy and Casey's other children were removed from the home, and around the same time, they began to get uncooperative with authorities. A few days later, Erica's biological mother, Carolyn, came from New Orleans to speak with police. She said that she had not seen her daughter since January 5th, 2011, though she had, in the months after, received updates about her on social media. Detectives went to search Casey and Sandy's home to look for any clues as to where the young girl could have gone, but found nothing. So nearly a month after Erica had been reported as missing, the FBI was called in to help look for her. When a search warrant was executed on the Parsons home this time in August of 2013, investigators discovered a plastic bag containing JonBenet Ramsey magazines and a JonBenet Ramsey book, with notes found inside about remodeling a house. Laptops, cell phones, and a desktop computer were also removed from the home. A section of drywall that had a red stain on it was cut out and taken from a closet, along with the baseboards from the inside of the closet. Additionally, a pair of jeans with a red stain on them were taken along with 2 large knives. In a search of a storage unit that was owned by Sandy, authorities removed a piece of a vacuum, a videotape, school records, a hammer, and some teeth.
We searched every square inch of that house. They pulled up floorboards in the some of the closets, doing probes in the yard, looking for clandestine graves, and every place that we knew they'd been, we'd searched. They had moved a lot.
Got calls all over the place from psychics, people seeing her on the side of the road, or I thought I saw her here. And it's hard when you can't tell the public and the national news and the local news and state news every little step you make, because there was just so much going on, different officers doing different things in the case, running down different leads.
Publicly quiet, but pushing hard behind the scenes to find Erica. The SBI and FBI joined in the investigation, offering rewards for her safe return.
A lot of people failed Erica, and we were not going to let that happen. We were not going to fail her.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created an age progression photo, turning an image of Erica at age 9 into what she could look like at 15. Those pictures were plastered on billboards, part of the massive effort to generate tips.
This case would haunt us if we didn't find her.
Regardless of all this evidence, authorities found nothing to suggest that Erica had recently been living in the home. But despite that, Sandy and Casey had still been receiving $634 a month from the government for Erica. According to the Parsons, they were allowed to accept this money too, because they were still legally the guardians of Erica, even though she was living with Nan. Needless to say, there was a ton of suspicion floating around Sandy and Casey. And on August 20th, 2013, they decided to go on the Dr. Phil show to try to clear their names.
I raised Erica for almost 14 years. I was her mother. After living with Nan for 2 months, Nan told us that Erica did not want to come back home. About a week and a half later, when I dialed Nan's phone, the phone stated that it was not receiving calls. I thought that Erica had blocked our number. It's been a year and a half since I spoke with Nan and my daughter.
As part of the show, Sandy took a polygraph and was found to be strongly deceptive by the former FBI agent who administered the test. Casey claimed to be experiencing a high level of pain, which could invalidate a polygraph, so she never completed hers. Then, just a few days after they appeared on the show, on August 26, 2013, Sandy and Casey were interviewed again, this time by the FBI. The very next day, the couple packed up their home and left the area. According to them, it was just to get away from the intense media scrutiny surrounding Erica's disappearance. Now, at least one person had been concerned that the little girl was being mistreated inside her home and had contacted Child Services back in March of 2002. Erica was just 4 at the time and was seen with 4 marks on her rear end, a long red mark down the back of her leg, and a couple on the side of her face. The person who reported these injuries said that she had been perpetually punished by her adoptive parents, and that Casey even carried a belt around that she used to whip the girl. However, the subsequent child service investigation into the matter yielded no evidence, and social workers determined that Erica showed no signs of fear towards either one of her parents. In 2004, another complaint was made, saying that Erica was tiny and frail. There was additionally concern that Casey didn't want her and had tried to give her away. It wouldn't be until almost a year after Erica had been reported as missing that there was a new development in the case. On July 30th, 2014, Sandy and Casey Parsons were placed under arrest, and they were charged with 76 different counts, which included theft of government funds, mail fraud, tax fraud, conspiracy to defraud the government, and identity theft. The couple had been receiving the $634 a month for Erica along with food stamp benefits. Casey had also fraudulently used the identities of other people as dependents and submitted the false information on her tax returns. While Casey would plead guilty to 15 of her charges, Sandy would opt for a trial. And in October of 2014, a jury would find him guilty on most of his charges. During a sentence hearing in federal court that took place in February of 2015, Jamie Parsons and Casey's sister, Robin Ashley, would testify about the mistreatment that Erica had been subjected to inside the Parsons home. Robin, Erica's aunt, would claim that Casey could not stand the little girl and did not even consider her to be her daughter. Robin said that Casey would often make Erica stand in the corner and beat her. There were many times that she had seen bruises on the young girl, and there was one time that Casey brought her to her house, asked her to watch her, and said it was because she was afraid she was going to kill her if she didn't. Eventually, about 8 months later, Casey had returned to take Erica back home. And ironically, this was because she feared getting in trouble for receiving money for a child that was not in her house. When someone would confront the mother about the bruises on Erica's body, she would accuse her other children of causing them. Which was partially true because Erica's older brother Jamie would testify that everyone in the family had a hand in hurting her. Something that was highly encouraged by Casey and had started when Erica was just 4. According to Jamie, Casey would often bend his sister's fingers backwards, causing them to break, but then would deny her medical attention, instead making homemade casts for her. The little girl, who was supposedly homeschooled, had been forced inside a closet for hours on end. When she then had to relieve herself inside the small space, she would be beaten. She was also reportedly starved and forced to eat canned dog food. One time, Casey even put Erica's hand on top of a hot stovetop. Jamie testified that Erica's adoptive father, Sandy, would get mad with her too, and he would punch her in the head. In fact, she had a bald spot on the top of her head from where all the wounds had formed and then healed. If Erica was ever given a gift, it would be taken from her as soon as that person left, and instead given to one of her siblings. The last time that Jamie claimed to have seen Erica was on November 19th, 2011. She'd been standing in a corner of the home and looked like a complete zombie. She said that she wasn't feeling well and having a hard time breathing. But when Casey overheard this, she told her that she didn't care and she needed to shut the F up. When Jamie awoke the next morning, his parents were gone, which was rather unusual, and Erica was also nowhere to be seen. When they returned, she wasn't with them, and Jamie could feel that something was not right. While Casey looked normal, Sandy had a blank stare on his face and looked like he wanted to throw up. Upon Jamie asking them where his sister was, he was told that she'd gone to live with her biological grandmother. Heartbreakingly, when Erica was little, she had called Sandy and Casey Mom and Dad, but Casey had told her that she did not like that and never call her that again. Apparently, all of this anger towards Erica had been because of the couple's hatred towards the girl's mother, Carolyn. Casey reportedly could not stand to look at her daughter because she reminded her of Carolyn, and she hated Carolyn. During the sentence hearing, prosecutors would present further evidence of scams that Casey Parsons had put on. Back in 2000, she had been hired by a couple to be a surrogate. And once she had become pregnant, she accepted $10,000 for her services. But only weeks later, she called up the biological mother, Amy Miller, and told her that she had miscarried. Then, she changed her phone number and email. Thing is, Casey had never lost the baby. Instead, she delivered a perfectly healthy child and tried to sell it to her sister Robin, who in turn searched online for Amy and told her what had happened. Amy was then able to contact law enforcement and get her baby back. Ultimately, Casey would receive a sentence of 120 months in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and $41,814 in restitution. Sandy was sentenced to 96 months in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and restitution as well. In the sentencing remarks, the judge made it clear that the evidence to suggest that Erica was no longer alive was absolutely overwhelming. And oddly, Jamie would later recount the allegations of mistreatment against Erica, saying that he had never witnessed anything happen to her. Regardless, in September of 2016, Sandy would finally admit to his harsh treatment of Erica to police. This treatment included, but was not limited to, locking Erica in a closet, hitting her with a belt, bending her fingers back, and choking her. Following his confession, Sandy then agreed to bring detectives to where Erica's body was located.
Sandy Parsons, shackled in the passenger seat, was let free from federal prison in September 2016 for only a few hours and for one reason: to lead detectives to Erica Parsons. Along this road in rural Chesterfield County, South Carolina, is where Sandy's mother once lived. Sandy and his wife Casey had spent nearly 5 years hoping no one would find their adopted daughter's body, which they had buried here.
It's in an area like this. The pine trees ain't as thick around it. It's different. Right there. Go up a little bit.
This here?
I think so.
Okay.
That's it now, you got the shackle.
You got it?
Within 3 minutes of stepping into the woods, Sandy Parsons pinpointed Erica's shallow grave. Major Moose recalls how somber, even tearful, Sandy Parsons became.
According to him, Casey had told him on December 17, 2011, that Erica had ended her own life. So they had poured bleach on her body to mask the smell before putting her in trash bags and a storage container. The next day, they traveled to Pageland, South Carolina to bury Erica's body near Sandy's mother's home. A few months after Erica's body was recovered in December of 2016, Casey contacted detectives and told them that the little girl had informed her that she wanted to die. Then, she had later found her on the living room floor, lifeless. Due to the condition that Erica's body had been found in, it wasn't until nearly a year later that her autopsy results would be released. Police were said to have been waiting to file charges against Sandy and Casey until these results came back. And when they did, it was determined that Erica had died as a result of homicidal violence of undetermined means. She had fractures in various stages of healing in her upper right arm, the bone connecting the arm to the collarbone, a finger, her jaw, her nose, left shin bone, and 7 ribs, some of which had been broken more than once. Erica also had signs of spina bifida. She was malnourished, had missing teeth, and was possibly suffering from renal failure and untreated sepsis or even poisoning. Horrifically, the girl had then been dismembered. The coroner wrote in his report, "We cannot exclude the possibility of a terminal blunt force injury, suffocation, or strangulation." The way that Erica had been treated inside the home was even showcased in multiple family photos. As you can see, Erica is standing in the corner in the background of many pictures. On February 19, 2018, Casey and Sandy were finally charged with first-degree murder, felony CA inflicting serious injury, felony concealment of death, and felony obstruction of justice. A little over a year later, in August of 2019, Casey Parsons would plead guilty to first-degree murder, and she would be sentenced to life without parole. During her sentence hearing, she admitted to hurting Erica and said that family members had tried to step in and protect the child numerous times, but she had just pushed them away, lying to them constantly.
I just want to know why, and I never will. He gave her a gift that millions of people would love to receive. To his family, Erica was my child.
I don't know why I did the stuff I did. I'm very sorry. But God gave me a precious gift, a baby girl, Erica, and He entrusted me to take care of her. And I failed Him and I failed Erica. I failed her horribly.
She has no soul. She is a body that is just there. 100% agree with that, because their life in prison, living, her life in prison, living, will be worse than any death sentence she could ever get. That last statement was, and you cannot be around children. Yee-haw! Casey loses her rights to watch her grandkids grow up. What an incredible final end for her.
And in December, Sandy would also plead guilty to second-degree murder, CA, concealment of death, and obstruction. He was later sentenced to at least 33 years behind bars.
People may forgive me. I know God has. But I'll never forgive myself.
Final words from the adoptive father of Erica Parsons, asking for forgiveness for his role in her senseless death.
I turned a blind eye. Things Erica was going through. And I failed her as a dad.
On February 25th, 2017, one day after what would have been Erica's 19th birthday, a funeral service for her was held at Salisbury's First Baptist Church, and she was then finally laid to rest, almost 6 years after she had been killed. Well, thank you for listening to Erica's story today. At no point in time did it seem like this girl had a normal life. Sandy and Casey never treated her well. She was always treated like she was an outcast, all because she wasn't their biological child. Disgusting. What do you think about this case? So, if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And turn on your notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon, so check it out on patreon.com/awickedworld, or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims are never forgotten, and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a story you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email to awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.